girl, it's Abbi J, and today I'm sharing with you 10 tips on how to practice self-care, self-love, and make self-care a mindset for you every single day, because it's this buzzword going around in personal development, and that's awesome, right? We all need to practice self-care, but some of us have the wrong idea about it, that it needs to be grandiose, it needs to be a trip to the spa, or that you get your hair done once a week. Those things aren't really sustainable, even though they're really fun. And so I want to share with you 10 tips on how you can make self-care part of your everyday experience. So without further ado, let's talk about the mindset of self-care and also 10 tips for you to make it a daily practice in your life. So like I mentioned, self-care, in my opinion, needs to be more of this mindset. This mindset that it's okay to treat yourself, it's okay to do things that you love, and you shouldn't feel guilty. Self-care is all about guilt-free. And for that reason, my first tip for you out of this 10 on self-care tips is that you need to focus more on rewarding behaviors than you do rewarding items. So like I said, a lot of us are like, well, for my big self-care this month, I'm gonna go to the spa and drop $100 on myself. That's awesome. I think if that is your thing, you go, you do that. But I would say that needs to be something that you do, once a month, maybe like that, but it's not something you could probably do every day. And for that reason, you should focus on rewarding behaviors that you can practice every single day. Because I don't know about you, but when I drop money at the spa or go get my hair done, or, all these things that I love to do, I think every woman should do, but if I was to do that once a week, I'd run out of money. I would start feeling really guilty about all that time and energy and money spent on my self-care. So to avoid that, focus on rewarding behaviors like, I'm gonna forgive myself today. I am not gonna feel guilty about eating this treat today, or I am going to take a nap. I'm going to watch a movie. Things that are rewarding to you. So focus on the behavior is tip number 1. My second self-care tip is to gift yourself time. One of the greatest self-care exercises that you can ever do is to just give yourself an hour to do whatever you want to do, to just meditate, to just do yoga, to go to the gym. Give yourself that gift of time, because we as women don't have time. So that's an ultimate gift if you can take the time aside to say, I am worth it to have this hour to myself. Tip number 3 is to give yourself forgiveness. Self-care to me is all about forgiveness. It's all about being guilt-free. It's all about just accepting and loving who you are. And so if you are struggling loving who you are because you can remember every bad thing you've ever done since you were 3 years old, I'm inviting you to forgive yourself and to give yourself that gift of self-love, of forgiving yourself. Tip number 4 when it comes to self-care is to give yourself organization, to gift yourself being clutter-free. This might sound a little weird because, self-care, we think of bath bombs and going on a walk in nature, right? I would argue that as women, we love things to be organized and to feel peace in our space. And so a gift you can give yourself is to organize and declutter your life in certain areas. Tip number 5 on practicing self-care and self-love is to mix up small and big rewards. I hate to keep beating this example to death, but it's the only one I can think of. But so, going to the spa, I think you should totally do that, or getting your hair done, getting a massage. To me, getting a massage is a dream, right? I'm yes, please. But that's not something you can probably afford to do every day. And if you can, you go for it, girl. But my challenge for you is to mix it up. On some days, say, you know what, instead of feeling like I need to go do the dishes, I'm gonna take a break and look through Pinterest and find a really cute outfit to wear tomorrow, or I'm gonna take the time to go through my closet and really appreciate my clothes, or you know what, I am gonna go out and go to the mall and go shopping and treat myself that way. So mix it up, because self-care isn't about spending money, it's about making you feel loved and appreciated, and that you can feel rejuvenated. And there's lots of different ways to rejuvenate yourself. Tip number 6, I have to admit, is probably my favorite, and that is to create some self-care practices that you can do completely for yourself and by yourself. So these are practices such as I have a routine and I get to go take a nice steamy bath, and then I get to go sit on the couch and binge the Great British Bake Off, right? Like that is like your thing, and you can just do it by yourself, and you doesn't require to go anywhere or do anything. These routines are so fundamental to self-care because when you're having that moment of feeling so run down and overwhelmed, your brain isn't gonna be like, oh, you know what? We should try this brand new self-care idea I saw on Pinterest. No, it's gonna revert back to your favorites. So make those routine and make them something that's not dependent on other people or a place to be open or anything like that. Something that you can go and do anytime that you feel like it. Tip 7 seems like a no-brainer, but I see women doing this all the time, and it's like a big no-no in self-care. But you need to do self-care practices and self-love practices because you love it. Like that's the whole purpose, right? It needs to be rewarding to you. Often we kind of have this idea in our head, but then when it actually gets to it, we're like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna follow through with it. My challenge for you, this is about you. This is about loving who you are, rejuvenating your batteries. So do what you want to do. I had this experience the other day where I thought, you know what, I really should organize my closet and organize my bedroom because that's kind of productive and kind of self-care, but all I want to do is take a nap. Take a nap, girl. Do what you love. It's about you. Tip number 8 is to start small. With self-care, a lot of women can feel like, oh, that's really over the top, or that's really eccentric, and I'm just a simple woman. I don't need a lot of stuff, right? Or I don't need to really treat myself, and we feel weird treating ourselves. We feel weird taking an hour for ourselves when we know that we should be folding laundry or doing dishes. So start small. Start in a way that feels authentic and organic to you in how you can love yourself, because when you start small, you realize that when you take time for yourself, it blesses all areas of your life. Tip number 9 is one of my favorites, and that's not to forget that self-care has so much to do with nature. When we can take a moment to go outside, to feel sun on our face, to pull weeds, to walk around the neighborhood, to smell the fall air, to look at glistening snow, it rejuvenates our souls. And this isn't just me talking because I love nature. This is scientifically proven that the more time you spend outside, the happier you'll be. So when it comes to your self-care, don't forget to get outside. And for me, my favorite thing in the whole world is to go on a walk. Because my productive brain says oh, I'm kind of exercising, but I get to look around and enjoy nature and see the beauties of God all around me. And so don't forget to get outside, especially in these cold months that are coming up. Get outside. I know, bundle up, but when we're inside all day, every day, it's just depressing. It's just sad. So get outside, and don't forget to make being outside part of your self-care. And my last tip, tip number 10, is to do something for yourself every day. Now, this encompasses all the points because I feel like you're ready for this last tip when you understand that it doesn't have to be big, that it needs to be something that you love, that you can start small, that you can just do what feels good and rewarding to you, but to do that every day and to find something enjoyable and fun to look forward to. Now, self-care, I've got a little baby, so right now for me, that's when he's napping, that I can just take a moment and sit there and kind of meditate. My self-care literally these days is about 2 minutes long, right? Or maybe I go on a stroller ride with him and I just get to think and ponder and be in my head for a little bit. These are things that every day rejuvenate my batteries. So this is my charge for you, and this last tip is make self-care a daily practice, but do it with all the other tips in mind, that it can be small, it can be organic, it can be something every day that doesn't cost money, because you are worth it, girl, and you need it, girl. So there you have it. Those are my 10 tips on self-care and self-love. And I hope that after watching this video, you've had some ideas about what you can do, because too many of the women that I talk to and reach out to me on Instagram are like, I can't afford self-care, or I don't have time for self-care. And I think that after watching this video, you'll understand that self-care doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. It's more of an attitude and a mindset than anything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave me a comment on what you do for self-care. I think that as we share ideas about what we do for self-care, it inspires, it uplifts, it gives us something to try that, who knows, might be your new favorite thing in the whole world. So leave that comment below and give this a thumbs up if you liked it. And of course, know that you can always reach out to me on Instagram or my email. So cannot wait to see you in my next video. Abbi J out.